Hello guys, Johnny here. Welcome to my YouTube channel. Gents, today I'm going to talk about a famous motorcycle. It's a CF Moto 450 MT. I bought this motorcycle in March 2025. Right now I'm at 2000 kilometers done with this motorcycle, and I believe I can share with you some of the following experiences and, let's say, conclusions that I reached on. First of all, the motorcycle has a weight which is quite considerable. Okay, we are at 185 kilograms for this motorcycle, and right now if you put the fuel and the oil, you are going to have somewhere around a wet weight of 205 kilograms, which is quite considerable in my opinion. 205 kilograms. This motorcycle is not for beginners at all, because it's quite tall and it's quite heavy. I believe this motorcycle could be good for somebody who has a bit of experience, not a lot of experience, and also this motorcycle, I believe it is very good for somebody that is, let's say, more, let's say, age or senior rider, if you are going to use it on the street. However, this motorcycle is going to be excellent on the tarmac if you know how to ride. The geometry of this motorcycle is quite good. I mean, it's very good because it's sporty. And we have spoked wheels, tubeless wheels, 21 inch on the front, 18 on the back, with CST tires, which are, let's say, good. I would rather say they are excellent in dry tarmac, and they are decent on wet tarmac. But you know, I would compare them with Metzeler Tourans from the performance point of view. Those tires from CST. When you are riding quite aggressively with this motorcycle, you are going to see that the geometry of this frame is very good and quite neutral. It's hard to put this geometry and of this motorcycle when riding sporty into difficulty. The big advantage is that you have right now suspensions which are front and rear fully adjustable from KYB. For 6,000 euros, guys, this is a very good price. I believe this is quite a bargain as a package overall. The braking is done by a 220mm disc on the back with one piston caliper, and on the front we have a 320mm disc with a caliper that has 4 pistons mounted radially. The rear brake is excellent in my opinion. You can feel how much pressure you put on it, and the feedback from the brake is excellent. However, on the front I was not happy, and I can tell you that only after 1,000 miles or 1,600 kilometers, the front brake started to break in somehow and to improve the performance, because for the first 1,000 miles the braking on the front was not that good. It was a good braking for off-road conditions, but very bad for tarmac, you know, for the asphalt conditions. Right now we have 2,200 kilometers with this motorcycle, and the braking performance on the front end is very good compared to the solution that we have with one disc. Of course, the motorcycle is full LED. It's a modern motorcycle. When you're driving into the night, the LED from the front will assure you quite a large spectrum of visibility. I'm very happy with that LED on the front. We also have a windscreen which is adjustable, as you can see in here. From here, the windscreen is adjustable. However, I can tell you that for my height, 1.87 m, I don't believe that this is good enough, because all the wind pressure will come basically on my helmet. And if I put this on the low version, my helmet will be shaken very hard because of the wind turbulences. Let's talk about the engine, guys. The engine is awesome. You have a 449cc engine with 2 cylinders in parallel with a 270 degrees crankshaft. Now, this engine is very elastic and has a lot of torque almost everywhere on the RPM range. I can say that it doesn't matter in what gear you are, because the engine starts to pull quite nice and civilized from 2,500 RPM with no issues at all. Basically, because of this elasticity and because of the early torque that this engine has, you have the opinion that you are riding a motorcycle which has an engine a bit higher than 450cc. The fuel consumption of this motorcycle is around 6 liters in Bucharest. If you are going to drive it in the city, you can have minimum 5 liters in Bucharest for the traffic jams, and maximum 7 liters in Bucharest if you are quite aggressive with your riding style. However, when you are going, you know, on the open road, like in here, and you are going on national roads, the fuel consumption vary between 3.7 liters of 100 kilometers and 4.5 liters for 100 kilometers. I believe that this engine is quite economical if you take into account also the reservoir, which is 17.5 liters. You are going to have at least 300 kilometers of autonomy with no worries at all. The gearbox of this motorcycle is very precise and gentle, and right now I want to talk to you about the position that we have in the saddle. So, if you are going to take into account the triangle between the footrest, seat and handlebar, you can see that right now I have a very good position, very relaxed position. The handlebar is quite large and it allows me to make some maneuvers without being stressed. Also, the passenger has a generous seat and also has some hand supports for more comfort. As standard, you are going to receive also a top case plate on the back.
A seat cushion would be very good to use if your passenger is going to stay with you for more than 1 hour on a trip, because the thickness of the seat for the passenger side is not that high as it is for you, the rider.
Off-road wise, this motorcycle is good. The ground clearance of this motorcycle is 220 millimeters, and the geometry of the motorcycle will allow you to go on forest roads with no worries. However, if you want to do more technical stuff with this motorcycle on enduro, you are going to feel the weight. The weight of this motorcycle is quite something, because you have 205 kilograms of weight, and let's say when you're going to ride with 10 liters of fuel, you're going to have 195 kilograms. On the off-road sections, this motorcycle is not for the beginners at all. Thank you very much.